I know this sounds crazy. At one point, some people are like, what's going on with Antarctica?
You can really go down a deep rabbit hole if you read about ice ages.
Presence of Antarctica on ancient maps, because we didn't discover it until 1820.
Beneath its thick layer of ice, explorers have found surprising things that make us rethink what we know about our planet.
Dad, there's a state trooper over here wanting to talk to you. And they found these sawed bones, a few of them. We got 15 of them now that they found.
From unusual underground lakes to ancient mysterious objects, these discoveries reveal a secret world full of surprises.
And that's where they say Eisenhower made a deal with these aliens.
In the icy reaches of the South Pole, there's a peculiar phenomenon that seems straight out of a suspenseful movie by John Carpenter. For years, scientists have been puzzled by the sudden appearance of massive holes in the ice. These holes, known as polynyas, can stretch over thousands of square miles and defy normal expectations of how ice forms each season. The mystery began in the early 1970s when satellites first spotted a mysterious hole in the ice of the Weddell Sea, only for it to vanish by summer. However, the most dramatic event occurred in 2018 during the coldest winter months, when a colossal hole nearly 3,700 square miles in size appeared in the ice pack. Over just 2 months, it expanded by a staggering 740 square miles before shrinking again as summer arrived. Scientists have tried to uncover the cause of these bizarre holes. Researchers from New York University, Abu Dhabi, may have cracked the case using satellite data and careful analysis. They found that these transient holes are likely formed by cyclonic storms. In September 2017, clashes between warm and cold air masses at the South Pole created cyclonic winds reaching speeds of up to 72 miles per hour and waves as high as 52 feet. These powerful winds pushed the Antarctic ice in different directions, creating openings in the ice pack. While these holes may seem dramatic, they play crucial roles in the ecosystem. Polynyas act as gateways between the ocean and the sky, providing pathways for wildlife such as seals and penguins, and even offering habitats for phytoplankton. Moreover, these openings can impact the atmosphere and may serve as indicators of climate change. The link between polynyas and cyclones raises concerns about climate change. As the planet warms, cyclone activity around the poles is expected to intensify. This could lead to more frequent polynya events, potentially disrupting climate models and affecting a broader range of atmospheric and oceanic processes. In 2018, a person who had worked at the South Pole shared an incredible story with journalist Linda Moulton Howe. This person chose to stay anonymous because the information was said to be highly classified. According to him, in August 2003, he and his team were on a secret mission that was disguised as a research trip. During this mission, they stumbled upon a large, dark structure sticking out of the ice. They all looked at each other in shock and decided to investigate. The structure had big square doors that slid into the walls when pushed, revealing a long hallway inside. The interior was lit with a strange green light that didn't seem to come from any specific source. The walls were covered in odd hieroglyphics that no one could recognize. It's a wild story, but considering Antarctica is one of the most remote and uninhabited places on Earth, it could be an ideal spot for extraterrestrial beings to operate without being noticed. Number 9, the mysterious pyramids of Antarctica. There's an interesting idea that the government is possibly hiding triangular buildings in Antarctica, believed to have been made by a mysterious ancient group. The Great Pyramid in Antarctica is a strange and controversial discovery that has puzzled both scientists and conspiracy theorists. It remains one of the biggest mysteries of recent years. In 2009, satellite images revealed what appeared to be a giant pyramid in Antarctica, sparking widespread curiosity and debate. The structure looks remarkably like a pyramid, with 4 clear triangular sides similar to the famous pyramids of Egypt. Its symmetrical shape and size have led some to believe it couldn't be a natural formation. One of the most fascinating things about the Antarctic pyramid is its location. Antarctica is known for its brutal weather and desolate landscapes, making it an unlikely place for such a grand structure. The pyramid's presence raises questions about the continent's past and suggests that a lost civilization might have once thrived there, long before it became the frozen land we know today. There are many theories about the Antarctic pyramid. Some people think it might be proof of an ancient civilization with advanced technology, while others believe it could have come from extraterrestrials. On the other hand, skeptics argue that the pyramid-like shape could be due to natural processes or an optical illusion created by light and shadows in the satellite image. In 2016, there was another breathtaking discovery, but this time the discovery of these buildings was made public. 3 huge triangular shapes were found, with one rising over 4,000 feet tall. To give you an idea, that's more than 10 times the height of the famous Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, making this a huge find. Officially, the government says these shapes are natural and says there are no records of ancient groups in Antarctica. But many people think differently. The buildings are so perfectly shaped that it's hard to believe they formed naturally. This suggests they were made by a very advanced and smart group that lived in Antarctica maybe 100,000 million years ago, possibly even the Anunnaki. Conspiracy theorists suggest Antarctica might have once been in Earth's middle, which would have made conditions there much better for living and building. Also, if the government is purposely hiding these buildings and information about them from Google Earth and other search engines, they must be hiding something important. It could be secrets of the universe, a cure for cancer, or even a source of renewable energy, but we'll only know the truth in time. Number 8, the unusual signals. The Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, ANITA experiment, is a project funded by NASA. It involves a group of antennas mounted on a large balloon that flies over Antarctica. Its purpose is to capture radio signals emitted by high-energy particles from outer space when they interact with Earth's atmosphere. During its flights in 2006 and 2014, ANITA detected some unusual signals that seemed to come from beneath the surface, which was surprising. Normally, such signals would be expected to come from space itself. Scientists also used another tool called IceCube, a neutrino telescope with sensors buried near the South Pole. IceCube is designed to detect faint bursts of light produced by particles passing through the ice, especially neutrinos. The idea was that if ANITA's signals were caused by neutrinos, IceCube should have detected similar signals. However, after examining data from 8 years, no matching signals were found in IceCube. Physicist Justin Vanderbroek from the University of Wisconsin-Madison pointed out that if ANITA's signals were from space, IceCube should have detected them, but this didn't happen. This difference remains a mystery that scientists have yet to solve. Some theories suggest that the signals could be radio waves bouncing through hidden caves or lakes under the ice. Others even propose a link to dark matter, which makes up most of the universe's matter but has never been directly seen. There's also a more interesting idea suggesting that these particles might come from a parallel universe, perhaps a mirrored copy of our own, which could explain why the signals come from below instead of above. This phenomenon continues to puzzle scientists, adding to the appeal of the research. The fact that there are still no clear answers is what makes it such an intriguing challenge for the scientific community to tackle. In our earlier discussion about old and highly advanced civilizations in Antarctica, many think there might be a lost city of Atlantis hidden beneath the icy continent. This idea becomes more popular when considering that Antarctica was once much warmer and positioned nearer to the equator. Atlantis, described as a warm city in old texts, would have thrived in a warmer climate during ancient times, unlike the icy conditions we see today. Taking it further, according to Charles Hapgood's writings, it's believed that the people of Atlantis moved from Antarctica as temperatures cooled. They traveled to civilizations like the Aztec, Mayan, and Egyptian empires, aiming to preserve their knowledge and people. This migration could also explain the similarities in these empires' advanced skills, teachings, and ancient structures for their time. Number 7, discovery of new species. In 2021, something amazing happened in Antarctica. A group of scientists from New Zealand were exploring the Larsen Ice Shelf when they made an incredible discovery. Using a hot water hose, they drilled about 1,640 feet into the huge ice sheet of the Antarctic Peninsula. What they found was a hidden world, never seen before by human eyes. They sent a camera down into the hole they had drilled, expecting to capture footage of the icy depths. However, they soon noticed something surprising. Their view was being blocked. At first, they thought their equipment might be broken, but on closer inspection, they found the reason. Hundreds of small, shrimp-like creatures swimming through the water. These creatures, scientifically called amphipods, are small shellfish. Finding such life thriving deep under the Antarctic ice was an exciting moment for the team. They had not expected to find such a lively ecosystem in such a tough environment. It was a truly groundbreaking discovery. There's an interesting conspiracy theory that claims Antarctica is the hidden entrance to a mysterious world inside our planet. In January 2019, NASA reported that scientists had found two huge craters deep under Antarctica's thick ice. These craters were first spotted by researchers in 2006 and are thought to have been created by a giant asteroid that hit Earth millions of years ago, causing the extinction of the dinosaurs. However, conspiracy theorists have a much more intriguing explanation for these craters. They believe the craters are secret entrances to inner Earth, where a hidden base exists similar to those used for sinister purposes during World War II. If this idea sounds unbelievable, a quick look at some historical records might make it seem more believable. Beyond the supposed base, the theory goes even further. Some believe that within inner Earth lies a lush, tropical paradise, a haven for the wealthy and powerful elite of our world. This hidden realm is said to be a place of excess and indulgence, accessible only to those with immense wealth and influence. Imagine a secret perfect world right beneath our feet, reserved for the most privileged members of society. It's an exciting and fantastical idea that continues to captivate the imaginations of many. American naval officer Richard E. Byrd made some fascinating reports after his expedition to the South Pole, known as Operation High Jump. Officially, this mission, which ran from 1946 to 1947 and was led by Admiral Byrd, was about setting up a research base and training personnel to handle extreme cold. But there was more to it. According to some theories, Operation High Jump wasn't just a straightforward research mission. Instead, it was a secret military operation aimed at investigating a hidden society beneath the Antarctic ice. This story suggests that Byrd and his team flew into an underground entrance to the center of the Earth, discovering a place often called the Crystal City. In this hidden world, they supposedly encountered extraterrestrial beings and strange aircraft. The environment was completely different from the icy surface, featuring lush forests. After making these incredible discoveries, Byrd was allegedly forced to keep it a secret. The astonishing tale only came to light years later when Byrd's journal, in which he detailed his experiences, was found. Let's talk about those craters in Antarctica again for a moment. Some people have some wild ideas about them. They don't. Think these craters are pathways to the Earth's center or secret military bases with terrible intentions. Instead, they believe these craters are secret bases for alien UFOs. Scott Waring, a UFO conspiracy theorist, has a particularly interesting theory. He thinks that a UFO, not an asteroid, made one of these craters when it crashed into the Earth and got buried in the ice. According to him, the government is now using this crater to store other UFOs and hide proof of alien life and activities. Waring even claimed that he saw an unedited picture of the crater where a UFO was visible. However, he says that all traces of this spaceship have since been erased from the internet. This theory adds a mysterious and thrilling twist to the story of these Antarctic craters. Number 6. Strange Organism, 46B. Organism 46B is a spooky urban legend about a strange sea creature that Russian scientists supposedly found while drilling in Volto Lake. This creature is described as a jelly-like being, almost like a giant squid, with extreme venom. It can also quickly change its shape and look like other sea animals. According to the story, Organism 46B hunts in a very unusual way. It can stretch out long, thin arms from its body to paralyze and then eat its prey. The legend says that Russian scientists tried to study this creature to figure out how it works and maybe use its abilities as a weapon. However, their experiments went wrong, leading to the deaths of several researchers. In the end, the Russian government allegedly covered up the entire incident. One of the most intriguing theories suggests that all of Antarctica is a massive and unethical weapons testing site. According to this theory, the reason Antarctica is so off-limits isn't because of environmental concerns, but because world leaders are working with brilliant but immoral scientists. Together, they're supposedly creating unimaginable weapons. from explosives far deadlier than the largest nuclear bombs, to brain implants or chemicals in our water that could make people blindly loyal to the elite. Imagine the scariest weapons you can think of. They're either already in Antarctica or being developed there. This idea is terrifying, especially when you consider how governments have a history of using secret locations to test dangerous weapons. Number 5, astonishing new bacterium. Scientists have made an astonishing discovery in Antarctica, a new type of bacteria that can survive solely on the gases in the air. Researchers from the University of New South Wales in Australia uncovered these extraordinary microbes. These tiny organisms live in some of the harshest conditions on Earth, where food and energy sources are extremely scarce. They survive by consuming hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Despite the brutal cold, lack of water, months of darkness, intense ultraviolet radiation, and constant freezing and thawing, these bacteria manage to thrive. This discovery raises fascinating questions. How can these organisms live without traditional energy sources like sunlight? To investigate, scientists collected soil samples from 2 ice-free areas in Antarctica, Robinson's Ridge and Adams Flat. These locations were chosen because they lacked the usual microbial food sources. Through detailed genetic analysis, researchers mapped out the DNA of 23 different microbes found in the soil. They identified 2 new groups of bacteria named WPS2 and 83. What surprised the scientists the most was how efficiently the dominant bacteria could extract hydrogen and carbon monoxide from the air, enough to sustain themselves. These bacteria flourish in an environment without sunlight, geothermal energy, or nutrients. Number 4, ghost mountains. When we think of mountains, we imagine tall peaks reaching high into the sky. Mountain ranges often create beautiful backdrops for many amazing places and destinations. Some of the most adventurous people even climb these dangerous peaks for the thrill of adventure and scientific discovery. Beneath the ice of Antarctica lies a sharp mountain range, similar to the European Alps, but hidden under the ice. This discovery suggests that the massive ice sheet formed incredibly quickly, which challenges what scientists previously thought and raises concerns about how global warming might affect sea levels. Scientists using radar and gravity sensors set out on a unique mission to map the Gamburtsev subglacial mountains. They expected to find a flat area, but instead found a landscape full of peaks and valleys, much like the European Alps. Fausto Ferraccioli, a geophysicist from the British Antarctic Survey, noted that these untouched jagged peaks indicated that the ice sheet had rapidly formed, preserving the rugged landscape beneath up to 2.5 miles of ice. This discovery opens a new chapter in understanding how ice sheets behave. Geologically, mountain ranges like the Alps and the Himalayas form when continents collide. Antarctica's last collision with other landmasses happened about 500 million years ago. The intriguing part for researchers is that while the Alps are relatively young, being only 50 to 60 million years old, the Gamburtsev mountain range might be as ancient as 500 million years. Number 3, Doomsday Glacier. Antarctica's Thwaites Glacier, often called the Doomsday Glacier, is a massive ice formation in the western part of the continent. This glacier has caught the world's attention because of its potential to significantly raise sea levels, leading some to worry about its catastrophic effects on Earth. Thwaites Glacier is enormous, spanning about 75 miles at its widest point. What makes it especially important is its fast-moving ice and its role as a barrier holding back a large portion of the West Antarctic ice sheet. If Thwaites Glacier were to shrink or collapse significantly, it could cause nearby glaciers to flow into the ocean, leading to a rise in global sea levels. The nickname Doomsday Glacier highlights the serious concerns about Thwaites. While scientists aren't sure exactly how quickly or how much sea levels might rise, they know that the glacier is vulnerable. Warm ocean waters are melting its floating ice from below, causing the point where the glacier meets the sea to retreat. Thwaites Glacier is a crucial part of Antarctica, and what happens to it could have big effects on coastal areas all over the world. While it might not single-handedly bring about a doomsday scenario, it serves as a stark reminder of the impacts of climate change. Predicting what will happen to the glacier is a tough challenge. And scientists are working hard to understand the complex processes that control its future. Number 2, the South Sandwich Trench and underwater rivers. The South Sandwich Trench is a very deep part of the ocean found far away in the South Atlantic, close to the South Sandwich Islands. This mysterious underwater valley was discovered only recently in the late 20th century. Scientists started mapping it fully in the 1980s using special tools to measure seismic activity. Ever since then, the trench has amazed researchers with its surprising geological features and importance to the ocean. The main thing that makes the South Sandwich Trench interesting is that it lies where two huge pieces of Earth's crust meet. Here, the South American plate is sliding under the South Sandwich Plate. This process, called subduction, often leads to earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other signs of geological turmoil. Because of this, the trench and the area around it are of great interest to scientists who keep studying it to learn more. Exploring the South Sandwich Trench is especially hard because it is in such a remote part of the ocean. The weather there is often harsh, with freezing temperatures and rough seas. This makes it tough for researchers to get there and study it. Its great depth and closeness to the South Sandwich Islands, which are themselves remote and volcanic, mean that much of the trench remains unexplored. Scientists are still curious about what might live in these dark, icy waters. Underwater rivers, also known as subaqueous rivers, are hidden streams flowing beneath the ocean's surface or within submerged caves. These mysterious currents, driven by differences in salinity and temperature, create unique ecosystems and transport sediments across great distances, impacting ocean dynamics. Though not extremely common, scientists and divers are familiar with them. However, discovering one in Antarctica is truly remarkable. This particular subglacial river in Antarctica is a natural marvel, even more impressive than the mighty Thames. Stretching over 285 miles and draining into the Weddell Sea, its existence was revealed using ice-penetrating radar during aerial surveys. What makes this discovery so fascinating is that beneath the thick, seemingly impenetrable ice lies a complex and interconnected river system, thriving as if the layers of ice above were non-existent. As we explore this icy network, we realize the river's catchment area is vast, equivalent in size to France and Germany being combined. This raises important questions with potential global implications. The river flows beneath four massive ice streams: the Institute Ice Stream, the Muller Ice Stream, the Support Force Glacier, and the Foundation Ice Stream. As these ice borders retreat, the river emerges from beneath the ice shelf into the Weddell Sea. This under-ice river has the potential to significantly influence our planet's future. If this hidden river were to melt, it could lead to a staggering 14-meter rise in global sea levels. While such a dramatic change wouldn't happen overnight, it adds a layer of uncertainty as we confront the effects of a warming climate. Number 1, the Ring of Ice and Fire. In 2017, scientists from Edinburgh University made an amazing discovery. They found almost 100 hidden mountains buried 2 kilometers beneath the icy surface of West Antarctica. Some of these mountains are as tall as Switzerland's famous Matterhorn, reaching nearly 4,000 meters in height. This finding suggests that West Antarctica has a bigger mountain range formed by volcanoes than the more famous volcanic ridges in East Africa. Even though these volcanoes have been inactive for thousands of years, researchers warn that if they become active again, it could have serious consequences for the region. An eruption could make West Antarctica's already fragile ice sheets unstable, causing more ice to move into the sea and speeding up the rise of global sea levels. The study started with an idea proposed by a young student at Edinburgh University, Max Van Wyck. Researchers used radar that can see through the ice to look beneath the ice, finding peaks of rock similar to volcanoes that explorers saw in the past 100 years. Finding 91 volcanoes that no one knew about before meant there were almost 3 times as many volcanoes in West Antarctica as people knew about. These mountains that are under ice are between 100 and 3,800 meters high and are in a 500-kilometer-long stretch known as the West Antarctic Rift System. One of the people who wrote the study, Bingham, was very surprised by what they found and thought there might be even more underwater mountains under the Ross Ice Shelf. The results of finding these new volcanoes are important not just for Antarctica. If they start to erupt, it could change things all over the world. Eruptions might make the region's ice sheets less stable and make sea levels go up as the water from the ice goes into the oceans. The researchers know that they are not sure about what these volcanoes have done in the past, but they think that it is worrying. They said that many of the hot places where volcanoes are in the world now used to be covered with ice until not long ago, like Iceland and Alaska, and they have had more volcanoes going off because the ice went away. West Antarctica, which is already getting warmer from climate change and is making the ice less stable, might start to do the same. If there is less ice, there might be less weight on the volcanoes that are asleep, and they might start going off. If that happens, it could make the ice sheets even less stable and make sea levels go up.
This is the guy that was on the Sean Ryan show, right?
Yes.
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 So he's talking about how he was I guess he was a fireman out there, and
Yeah.
yeah,
He lives in Alaska.
he was saying there's direct energy weapons.
Do you know about, you have a lot of physicists on the show, so I follow a lot of that. And so I already knew about the ice cube neutrino detector just from following science channels. Because without any of this
Let's
stuff,
listen to what he says, because it sounds so kooky. Are we allowed
That was
to?
the whole podcast. I gotta find I'm looking for the clip, I think.
Oh, that was a whole podcast?
Yeah, I think.
In this captivating interview, the curtain is pulled back on the secretive world of Antarctic operations as a former tradesman and firefighter shares startling revelations about covert activities and advanced technologies hidden within the icy confines of the South Pole.
The device is also for faster than light communications.
From his first-hand experiences at the facility to his keen insights into the true nature of the research being conducted, this whistleblower exposes a landscape of intrigue and danger that few have dared to explore.
What was weird about Antarctica?
There's nothing there. So if you want to go see the emperor penguins or all of the wildlife that is available, you can't go to the interior of Antarctica, which is where we were. Thought that this was going to be the coolest jump that I'd ever done. And what I will say is it's probably the coolest location, because we were there for a week. We did our first jump the day after we got there. Then we did the final jump the day that we left. But it's a camp. The company is called ALE, Antarctic Logistics and Exploration. And it's a full-on camp. Like Alex Honnold had passed through shortly after we had left there. He was climbing Mount Vincent, which is the largest mountain in Antarctica. Crazy group, fully set up, like library, indoor packing area for us to do our parachutes, bathrooms, showers, really nice tents. Will Smith was there earlier. That, like, if you're gonna film, if you're gonna do like a high-end film project, you basically work your way through that. It's fully established. There's a blue ice runway. We flew in on a 757, a runway made of like blue ice. The runway you land on is straight fucking ice. It's a chartered 757 through Icelandic Air.
Holy shit, you just land on ice?
Straight up blue ice.
The interview opens with the whistleblower recounting his tenure at the South Pole, where he served as both a plumber and firefighter. He paints a vivid picture of his role within the facility, detailing his access to restricted areas and his integral involvement in maintaining its operations.
I was a lead on the firefighting team, and because of that dual role capacity, I physically held a key that opened every single door in the facility.
However, beneath the surface of routine maintenance lies a labyrinth of secrecy and deception, where scientific equipment doubles as weapons of war.
From 2010 to 2011, you were a tradesman and firefighter on the South Pole. Antarctica is a contractor for Raytheon. You spent 366 continuous days at the South Pole. You were experimented on as a child and trained to be a remote viewer.
Correct.
Through a program called Stargate Project. Submarine service in the Navy, plumber for the wealthy elite on Long Island prior to Raytheon, and experience with UFOs.
Yes.
You're a whistleblower for the benefit of humanity. Why are you blowing the whistle now?
I am
What are you
blowing the
hoping to
whistle
accomplish?
because I'm obliged to. I don't know anybody that's walked a similar path to me in life. So it's necessary information that gets out there. I wish that I could be relieved of the task, but until I can find someone that can properly handle this information, I have to be on point for it.
Central to the whistleblower's revelations is the Ice Cube neutrino detector, a device purportedly designed for scientific research, but allegedly harboring a sinister secret. Contrary to its benign facade, the whistleblower claims that the detector is not merely a passive listener, but a potent transmitter capable of wielding directed energy weapons. Operated by the University of Wisconsin, he alleges that the detector played a role in triggering earthquakes, citing the devastating events in Christchurch, New Zealand in 2011 as evidence of its destructive capabilities.
The Ice Cube neutrino detector is not simply a passive listening device as presented for the science that they're claiming it to do. It also has the capacity to transmit. There are embedded in the ice what are called digital optical modules, DOMs. They're about the size of a basketball. The array embedded in the ice is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. It is the world's largest telescope, and now because we have proven that it can transmit, it's the world's largest directed energy weapons system. It is responsible for the earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand in 2011 on the front end of the year.
How do you know for a fact that that was responsible for that?
Because I was present and I have gone over this with the pertinent people, but I will not be releasing their names.
Okay.
But I was on the team, let's just say, and I've confirmed this. Provided documentation from the actual manufacturer's specs. Constructed, operated, and maintained by the University of Wisconsin, and just like every other device on the planet, whether you're driving an M1 Abrams tank or operating the Ice Cube neutrino detector, there's operator's manuals that tell you how things work.
The whistleblower's revelations extend beyond the realm of conventional warfare and into the realm of quantum entanglement, a phenomenon that defies traditional notions of distance and communication. He exposes how this enigmatic quantum property has been harnessed for long-distance communication, enabling covert operations to transcend geographical boundaries undetected. By delving into the intricacies of quantum entanglement, he unveils a world where information can be transmitted instantaneously, opening the door to unprecedented levels of surveillance and control. This exploitation of quantum mechanics represents a paradigm shift in the realm of covert operations, amplifying the urgency of the whistleblower's call to action.
The way quantum entanglement works is that you can take two particles, quantum entangle them, and then take those two particles and move them at any distance in the cosmos. And let's just say, for example, if you quantum entangle two electrons and you have them spinning in the same direction, and then you take one of those electrons and you shoot that thing out 100,000 light years from the original. If you then rotate the spin on the one electron, if you modify it so that its spin changes, the quantum entangled electron at any distance will simultaneously, in no time, switch its rotation also, because they're quantum entangled. So these communication systems are taking advantage of this aspect of quantum mechanics that most people can't wrap their heads around. And this is what they're utilizing. It's just the new level of science that affords us the ability to communicate at any distance instantaneously.
The whistleblower sheds light on the manipulation of voices through advanced techniques, including the disturbing phenomenon known as voice-to-skull technology, with chilling implications for personal privacy and mental autonomy. These revelations underscore the precarious intersection of science and secrecy.
Voice-to-skull technology. This is also in the foray of directed energy weapons.
What is that?
The ability to, let's just say, throw your voice into your head, or my voice into my head, or allowing algorithms that now they can blanket a whole geographical area, and they can make everybody change their thoughts. They can, I use the term intrusive thoughts. Back to that fork in the road analogy. If you find yourself where you have to make a decision about something, next thing you know, you catch yourself kind of having an argument in your head with your own voices. Well, the ability to add another one of your voices in there, but have it controlled by somebody else's microphone, so to say, is a very powerful tool. And I think this is a weapon of war that we are seeing happen to everyone around us. The Department of Defense recently started initiating protocols for their employees, their agents, to discuss Havana syndrome-like symptoms. And on that list is that their agents are hearing voices in their head. And this is what they're getting at. This is that technology that, you know, next thing you know, you're trying to make a decision, but there's another Sean in your head that now is actually somebody else's control. And through the manipulation of that voice, they can now push you, just like we have, you know, the cell phones are weaponized now, the social media platforms, and they can engage with an algorithm, and they know that they can push you in a direction by repetitive information being displayed in front of you, similar to the tachistoscope in grammar school, that they can learn your system and they can learn to manipulate it on a personalized level by just assessing you, what the things are that you're interested in, what are your weak points, what's the crack in the dam, what's the angle of attack. And it's through repetition and access. These are simply electromagnetic impulses in your head. It's not that they can't be read, it's not that they can't be copied, and it's not that they can't be just replayed with somebody else's control. I mean, I could get a voice changing thing and I could sound like you if I wanted to. I could call you on the phone. I could call your loved ones and I could pretend I'm Sean. And they can do that for you in your own head.
As the interview unfolds, the whistleblower issues a sobering warning about the implications of these clandestine activities. He cautions against complacency in the face of technological advancements that threaten to erode fundamental freedoms and sow discord among humanity. With an air of urgency, he implores listeners to heed the call to action and confront the shadowy forces at play in the Antarctic wilderness. This eye-opening interview serves as a portal into a clandestine realm, where secrecy and intrigue cloak the activities unfolding beneath the icy expanse of Antarctica. Through the courageous testimony of a whistleblower, we are granted unprecedented access to the hidden truths lurking within the frozen depths. As the narrative unfolds, a chilling reality emerges, one replete with covert operations and advanced technologies operating beyond the scrutiny of public awareness.
I want to emphasize that we are currently in a state of war that people aren't realizing.
What is that?
These weapons are being wielded around us, against us. There are power players that are above nation states. Geographical boundaries and political parties mean very little to the wealthy elite on this planet. We're pawns, we're chattel. I am a person for the people. We, the people of this planet, deserve a better future than the one we are being presented. We've all, through our blood, sweat, and tears, we've invested here in the United States. We've invested our taxpayer dollars for these people to create weapon systems that they're using against us. It's a sin. It's illegal. It's a sin. It's immoral. And we have to do better for the future generations of this planet.
At the heart of the whistleblower's revelations lies a fervent call for transparency and accountability in both governmental and corporate spheres. With unwavering resolve, he challenges the Antarctic Treaty of 1959, decrying its failure to stem the tide of militarization and covert activities. He shines a spotlight on the exploitation of advanced technologies for insidious purposes, from mind control to psychological warfare, painting a portrait of a world teetering on the brink of ethical abyss.
Antarctica Treaty of 1959. An agreement signed by 12 nations in which the Antarctic continent was made demilitarized to be preserved for scientific research. What do you think about that?
I think it's a load of malarkey. And I'm going to throw a gentleman's name out there that I have worked with. He told me very specifically at the time that we communicated. He's going to die when he sees this video. I worked with a gentleman by the name of Aaron Bontrager. And he was also previously contracted by Raytheon Polar Services as a cook to work on a cat train that went across the ice. And he said the express purpose for him, I should say, for that team working for Raytheon was they were searching for missile site locations. The whole idea of this being demilitarized is a load of baloney.
The whistleblower's impassioned plea for justice reverberates with urgency, urging viewers to heed the call to action and confront the hidden dangers lurking beneath the ice of Antarctica and beyond. His revelations peel back the layers of secrecy shrouding clandestine endeavors, compelling individuals to educate themselves and pierce the veil of deception. With a rallying cry for collective accountability, he underscores the gravity of the situation, emphasizing that the very future of humanity hangs precariously in the balance. As the whistleblower lays bare the stakes at hand, he offers a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness, a beacon beckoning all who dare to challenge the status quo. His unwavering commitment to truth-telling serves as a catalyst for vigilance and courage in the face of unchecked power. By encouraging viewers to confront uncomfortable truths and grapple with the implications of complicity, he empowers them to chart a course toward a future defined by transparency and integrity.
There's a system known as ELF, extra low frequency. It's also a massive antenna that's embedded in the ice there. When I arrived to the facility as a tradesman and firefighter, I was read into how everything worked, because I needed for the safety of my crew to be able to battle fires and engage things appropriately. And at the onset, I was told that the ELF system is off. It's defunct, it's disabled, it is just sitting dead in the ice. But through my need to make an additional repair on something else, and tracing back to a sub-panel, I was finding the circuit that I needed to lock out, tag out, and do all the safe repairs. But then I noticed that this other breaker that was supposed to be off was in the on position, and it was listed as the ELF. And I ran it up my chain. I said, what's going on here? I said, this is supposed to be off. I was told it's off now. And I was just given a hard, it's on. And that was the end of my need to know. They didn't want to tell me anything else. You have identified the circuit that you need to work on. You have been informed that you can safely do your job. Carry on. So I did my job. I made the repair that I needed to on the circuit next to the circuit that I was now informed is duly on and operating. So the ELF is up and running, and that, again, is a multifaceted directed energy weapons platform.
Do you have pictures of any of this stuff?
I have a lot of pictures of me in these facilities. They mostly just prove my presence.